This is Dave, and I'm here with Ethan, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 136-inch.
On this week's episode, longtime Weird Al drummer and historian John Bermuda Schwartz breaks his silence about the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Well, Ethan, a lot has happened since last week.
Well, I'll say, I can't believe the sports team did the thing. Oh, who am I kidding, Dave? I can't even joke at a time like this. Weird Al is going on tour!
Yay! That is right. Weird Al shared the news shortly after midnight, Burrito time, last Friday, December 3rd, that he and the band will be resuming touring next year, starting in April and running through the end of October, and finishing up the tour at the esteemed Carnegie Hall in New York City.
Oh, yeah, and you just cannot believe how excited Dave, you and I are. There has so far been 127 announced performances for the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour across North America in 2022. And Dave, I just want to go to all of them.
I want to go to all of them too. You do not know how tempting it is to quit my job, ignore all my responsibilities, and devote my life to following the band around for like 6 or 7 months.
That would be pretty stinking majestic. And I would say the fact that the tour announcement launched with 127 tour dates, and we had our future interview with Weird Al first premiere on episode 127-inch, well, I don't think that's a coincidence, Dave.
No, definitely not a coincidence. We know why you did that, Al. It's because 127 is 1,832 less than your birth year. You can't fool us.
Ha! So if you're familiar with how the 2018 ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour worked, this tour will be very similar. Al and the band are once again touring without the costumes, the video screens, and they are focusing on the non-parody songs and deep cuts.
And comedian Emo Phillips will be once again joining the tour as the opening act, and he is hilarious. And there will also once again be VIP packages that will include pre-show, Weird Al Jeopardy, and a whole bunch of other really cool stuff.
So tickets are scheduled to go on sale to the general public this coming Friday, December 10th, but there may be some pre-sales, so check with your local venue.
Ethan and I, we hope to hit as many shows as possible and see as many of our friends and listeners as possible. And we're still figuring out which shows we will be at. In fact, we were up together way past our bedtimes the other day, scheming and mapping scenarios out. It was wild.
Oh yeah, we were on the phone together for over 4 hours, and yet we still don't have a finalized list of all the shows we want to go to.
Well, once we do know which shows we are going to, and once the tour gets a little bit closer, we will be sure to share all of that with you. And of course, we'll also share our tour-related plans for the podcast once it's appropriate to do that as well.
Well, we here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast would have just loved to talk all about the tour with Weird Al himself and get the first exclusive interview with him since the news dropped, but...
Yeah, our intern Frank, he reached out to Weird Al and he tried to set something up, but then he told us that somebody had already beat us and interviewed Weird Al about the tour already.
It was such a bummer. Dave, we're really hoping to be the first ones, but...
Well, do you have any idea who got that exclusive scoop?
Well, I'm not completely sure, but I did ask our intern Frank to track down a copy of that interview, and he did track it down, so maybe we can just take a listen to it right now.
Sure. Frank, go ahead and play that interview.
Mike Minnick here once again with a very special guest.
Is it Uncle Frank or Cousin Louie?
No.
Is it Bob or Joe or Walter?
No.
Could it be Bill or Jim or Ed or Bernie or Steve?
All right, I'll give you one last guess.
Hey, it's me, Weird Al.
Al, thanks for joining us again.
Every time you call, you drive me up the wall.
Now, you recently announced a new tour, the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour.
Tell everyone, tell everybody now.
May I ask why you went back to this format again?
Let me tell you something, you whiny little snot.
No, it's not that. I didn't mean to offend you.
I couldn't feel any worse if you dropped a two-ton bowling ball on my toes.
Again, Al, I'm sorry.
But I love you anyhow.
Aw, thanks. Now, this is a pretty large tour.
And I'm doing 34 shows every day.
You're doing 133 shows this time around.
That's what we're gonna do now.
Well, don't worry. I'm sure every show is going to be a sellout. You do have quite a dedicated fan base.
Oh, the men all faint and the women scream.
Yeah, they can certainly get pretty loud.
What a racket they're making, Jack.
I'm just looking at the schedule here, and there's actually quite a few shows I'm interested in going to.
To travel in your future.
I see you're once again bringing Emo Phillips along on this tour. Tell me, what's your favorite thing about Emo?
The way he grinds his motors is really sexy.
Now, I heard a rumor that he's not actually being paid for this tour.
He still owes me money. What a jerk.
In addition to his absurd comedy, Emo definitely has quite a look to him.
When his hair was a mess and his clothes didn't fit.
And of course, you still have your top-notch band of nearly 40 years with you every night.
We've been together for so very long.
I'd imagine that between your band, crew, and Emo, things on the bus can get pretty cramped.
You can't imagine the smell.
Storage space must be at a premium. Is there a limit on what you can bring?
12 items or less.
On your last go-round, one of the fans' favorite parts of the show was the different cover songs that you did every night. Can we expect 133 different covers on this tour?
Don't spoil the big surprise.
Is there any city that you're excited to visit again?
Do that good old slow down.
Now let's talk about your time on tour. You've been doing this for nearly 40 years now.
Sometimes I can't believe this is all really happening.
Do you still get a thrill when you go on stage?
There's no feeling any greater.
Now I imagine with all that traveling, you have a lot of downtime. Do you spend a lot of time watching TV on the bus?
There's not even anything good on TV.
Well, then you must listen to a lot of podcasts. Do you have a favorite? I guess while listening, you just spend time staring out the window.
Just watching as the miles go flying by.
What about movies? Do you have any favorite movies to watch?
Twister.
Now, between shows, do you get to take in any of the local attractions?
We've been to ghost town, theme parks, wax museums, and a place where you can drive through the middle of a tree.
You've done a lot of things in your career. Records, movies, TV shows. Is there anything else that you want to do?
I want to shine some panties. I want to mend some leather.
Now, I know you don't like it when fans pitch parodies.
Only gonna puke if I hear anymore.
Well, you are the king of parody.
All you peons better scram.
Now, along with your curly hair, Hawaiian shirts, your look is really rounded out by your large collection of Vans.
I got 1,000,000 pairs of shoes
When not on tour, where do you spend your time?
in my own private Graceland.
I'm sorry, Al. I see you keep looking at your watch. Do you have somewhere else you need to be?
Mr. Wizard is on at 5.
Okay, we can wrap this up. Can I just ask one final question?
Baby, I don't mind.
When the tour is over, what is the first thing you're going to do?
Take my hamster to the beach.
On that note, I'd like to thank my guests. Yeah, I get that a lot. Have a good night.
Congratulations to Mike Minnick of Adrian and Mike's Living in Weird Al's Fridge podcast for getting the first interview with Weird Al regarding the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour.
Congratulations, Mike. What an awesome interview. Well, the tour announcement is obviously the big news of the week, but let's see if there's anything else going on in This Week in Weird Al related news. This past Friday, December 3rd, Weird Al announced the upcoming unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour. Wait, we already did this news, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. But did you see that Weird Al retweeted an article by Rolling Stone shortly after the news dropped?
Oh, I did, Dave. I read that article, and let me tell you, that article annoyed the crap out of me. They got so many things wrong.
They sure did. First of all, they even had the wrong start date for the tour.
They said in one part that the Vanity tour was in 2017, which it was not.
Oh, there were just a ton of grammatical and punctuation word crimes that just made us want to vomit.
And they even called one of Weird Al's songs by the name Dog Seat Dog. And Dave, I've never heard Dog Seat Dog before.
That's ridiculous. Well, we here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast strive to be as accurate as possible when reporting breaking news. And speaking of breaking news, we do have some more late-breaking news to share. We here at Dave and Ethan's 2000 Weird Al podcast have just learned that Weird Al will be performing the entirety of the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour with a pineapple on his head.
Wait, did our intern Frank fact-check that?
I think he got it from our sources at Rolling Stone.
Ah, gotcha.
Please give my best to lovely guy Ethan.
Well, is there anything else we need to share this week before the interview?
Actually, there's some very exciting Grammy Award winning Jim Kimo West related news. Grammy Award winning Jim Kimo West's annual holiday show is coming up this Saturday, December 11th.
Kimo will be performing selections from his 2 acclaimed holiday slack key albums, and who will be accompanied by hula and special guests.
The show starts at 7:30 p.m. Hollywood start time and takes place at Alva's showroom in San Pedro, California.
For tickets and other information, please visit alvasshowroom.com. And I went to Kimo's holiday show a couple years ago, and it was pretty stinking majestic. So if you're in the area, you don't want to miss it.
Grammy Award winning Jim Kimo West also announced a whole bunch of tour dates in 2022, starting with the Southern California Slack Key Festival on January 16th, and then the International Guitar Night Tour starting on January 18th and running through March 6th. And of course, the massive 2022 Weird Al North American Tour.
Kimo recently released a brand new single with Joss Jaffe called Open Ocean, and you can listen to that now on Spotify, Apple Music, or pretty much wherever you listen to music.
And in his latest newsletter, Kimo teased that he's been working on a new solo project and a Hawaiian record, and he will have even more big news this coming week, something that he's been wanting to share with us for a while. So stay tuned and subscribe to his newsletter over at jimkimowest.com if you have not already.
And this week's episode is brought to you in part by Vegan Burrito Restaurant, Burrito in Troy, New York, home of the 2-pound double wrapped in a quesadilla, Burrito, and Wizard Burger in Albany, New York. Come on down to Burrito and Burrito, your Burrito, or hop on over to Wizard Burger for mouth-watering, loaded, dare I say beefy, vegan burgers. From Troy to Albany to Uranus, Burrito, and Wizard Burger feed the hungry with out-of-this-world, plant-based, real food, always vegan style. Visit burritosquare.com and wizardburger.com to order ahead.
Well, I am so excited for the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour, and I would love to talk to our next guest about it.
Right on the heels of the announcement of the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour, Dave and I are extremely thrilled to welcome, to talk all about it, everything he's allowed to say. Please welcome John Bermuda Schwartz. How's it going, Bermuda?
Woo. Hey there, guys. How are you doing? Everything's good here.
Yeah, some exciting news in the past couple days, huh?
Yeah. It turns out there's a tour in 2022. How cool. Actually, it's considering we haven't worked in a while. This is more like the Fortunate tour.
Yeah.
Yes.
For us. The Fortunate What Took Us So Long tour. And but it'll be nice to get back out there.
Hopefully everybody who's listening already knows about this tour, but what can you tell us, just a quick overview of what this tour is going to be like?
Well, this is the Unplugged tour, as it's been called, the No Frills tour, as we used to refer to it as. And we'll be doing a bunch of the original songs, and we're taking a bunch of songs out of the rotation from the 2018 tour and putting a few new ones in. I can't tell you what they are, but we'll all see a list soon. And we're going to do the encore cover song every night of the tour. We're not doing.
Wow.
There's 133 dates. Well, yeah, don't get excited. There's 133 dates. There are not going to be 133 new cover songs.
Okay.
On that last tour, we did 77 different songs. We worked them up and rehearsed them to play them one time each. That was a lot of work. And Al decided not to abuse us so much this time. So we'll be doing a cover song every night, and a lot of them are from the last No Frills tour.
Okay.
There'll be some repeats within the tour, so some songs are going to be heard 2 or 3 times. And we're throwing in some new ones as well. So that's kind of what's new. So a little bit of the old and a little bit of the new, and that's the basic premise. No costumes, no server, video server, so no screen, no extra help with background vocals and percussion, and all. We're just going to play the way the five of us play. And Al's going to be on his Roland MIDI accordion, and he's going to be filling in a lot of the parts. So he's going to have to kind of re-rehearse and relearn a lot of the songs that he wrote, but hadn't really played, or in the case of this tour, hadn't done them like in 4 years.
Right.
So we're going to have a little bit of rehearsal to freshen up and dust off the cobwebs, and I think we're going to sound great.
Now, have you guys started rehearsing yet, or is that something coming up early next year?
That'll come up in the new year. And now for the 2018 tour, we did actually start rehearsing in 2017. Well, that tour started in February, but we rehearsed well in advance because we really had to learn songs almost from scratch. Things that we had never played live before. We played them maybe not even as a band, but last time we would have played them was in the studio. So some of those songs were, 25, 30, 35 years old by the time we tried to play them again. And so we had a little bit more work to do. But now that we've done, a lot of the songs on this tour, now that we've played a lot of them, although, 4 years ago, it takes a little less time to go through them and kind of freshen up. And there'll be some new ones to learn. And, we'll rehearse a little closer to the tour, and which is fine. With the holidays and all that, we all have other stuff we're doing. Towards the end of the year. So, 2022 will be a busy year. Right from the beginning.
Yeah.
So is it mostly going to be the same songs that were on the 2018 version of this tour, or will there be maybe a 50-50 mix? What kind of breakdown is it as far as the songs that are going to be performed this time?
Well, there will be a lot of the same songs, and there will be new songs. I wouldn't call it quite 50-50. We don't have that many originals, but there'll be some new stuff, and there'll be some of the stuff that everyone's familiar with, and it will resemble the 2018 tour a bit, which is why they've used a relatively similar name and a relatively similar design on the posters, and nobody's working too hard on this tour. We're just going to rehash all of the old stuff, add a few new things. I think more for us than for the fans, just because we get bored. And no, it's of course it's all for the fans. No, but it's going to be very much like the 2018 tour, with just a couple of little changes here and there.
Do you consider this then a continuation of the 2018 tour, or is it a brand new tour?
Well, it's technically a brand new tour, based largely on the 2018 tour. It's the fortunate return of. I already said that. No, it's. I don't know. I mean, it's not really a continuation because we had COVID and we had the Strings Attached tour in between, so it doesn't really. I guess we could say we sort of picked up. We're picking up where we left off.
Okay.
Tour. The fortunate pick up where you left off tour.
The title just keeps getting longer and longer. Now, Bermuda, I believe we've talked about this in the past, but there was a song tracker for the 2018 tour. It was headed up by this fan, Brad Hebert. And, there's a number of things, including tracking the songs. They also tracked the songs that were not played. And I see a list of 32 originals that were not played on that original tour. Do you have any idea? Do you think we're going to get all of them, a couple of them, half of them? What would be your guess there?
Wow. That must have been on one of the tabs that I didn't see on the tracker. There will be a percentage of those that will get played.
Okay.
And I'm guessing, how many songs are on there? 32?
32.
Then I would say it will be a 10% or more number of songs.
Oh, nice.
That,
Nice.
While we are also taking out some songs that we played on that tour. So it's going to be switched up. Hopefully we didn't take out anyone's favorite song.
So is there a number of songs? Like, is there 32 again this time? Can you give us a little insight on how many different songs there are on this tour?
I don't know. I haven't counted them. I don't know. No, I really don't know. That's not a funny answer. I haven't counted them. It will. I can tell you this, that and this must have really driven Al nuts, because he's already got all of the set lists done all the way through next October 29th. And they are 133 completely discrete set lists.
Wow.
So I don't know how he does that, if he graphs it out to make sure that none of the shows are duplicated. I mean, some shows, obviously, one show will be, suitably close to another show or a couple of shows, but every show is an absolutely unique show in terms of both the cover song we do and in terms of the set list that night. So every night, that's a lot of work right there. Mm-hmm. I'm glad I didn't have to do that.
No. Now, Bermuda, I wanted to ask you, I know the number 133 is being mentioned a lot, at least as of our recording of this interview, and as of Friday, December 3rd, there was only 127 dates actually listed on Weird Al's website. So are there just, I guess, 6 more that are to be announced?
I hope so. Otherwise, we're all going to look really stupid, which may be good. I don't know. I suspect there are some cases where if a show is sells out and the next night is available, they've sort of figured this out in advance, where we could book another night where they will add another night.
Okay.
And that would be like to be announced. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't looked at what's on there. So I don't know what nights those would be. I mean, I know there are several opportunities where we're doing 2 nights in a row.
Right.
So in some of those cases, they have probably announced the first night and are holding the second night. If they need to add that, it's there.
Okay.
There are times where shows will be, in pretty close proximity, like maybe within an hour of each other. And in deference to one venue or one market, the other show is not announced until, either the show is done.
That makes sense.
In that market, and then one will be announced, a few months later, or until the one show sells out, and then they can announce the second one. So they try and keep them not getting in each other's way. So I know there's at least one of those.
Okay.
And I can't tell you what it is.
Right.
But there is one of those.
So now on the 2018 version, the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour, there was also an unplugged medley of some parody songs. Is the Unplugged Medley coming back? And if so, is it the same parody songs, or will that be mixed up as well?
Oh, boy, we've done a lot of medleys already, polka medleys and food medleys and the acoustic medley and all that stuff. I don't know. And, enough with medleys already. Who needs medleys? It's as if we have so many songs that we can't play them all, and we just take little tidbits and sort of string them together.
Right.
in some sort of a mashup continuum sort of an affair in order to satisfy. I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll find out after the first 100 or so shows if there's any medleys in there. Worst comes to worst, at the end of the tour, you check the tracker and see what happened, and
Right.
and then we'll know.
Okay.
So, in a word, I don't know.
Okay. Now, we have heard that Emo Phillips will be returning to the tour. How exciting is that?
It's very exciting. No, it's very, very cool. What's cool about this is going to be first off, this is going to be a really trying tour. Not, we're not 25 years old anymore. This is our longest tour without a break. I mean, ever.
Wow.
In all these years.
Wow.
Great as we're now, most of us are on Medicare to put us through this. I mean, we're doing 133 playing dates, like or is it 100? Yeah. 100 in literally, 27 weeks.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
27.
Look at that.
Dun, 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 dun. I wonder if that was planned. It is literally 6 months and 1 week. So 6 months is 26 weeks, 1 week, 20. It's 27 weeks. And now this is not the most shows we've played in a year. There was one tour that was longer. In 2000, we did like 142 dates or something like that, but it was spread out over like 8 or 9 or 10 months. This is 133 dates, but it's 6 months and a week. Non-stop. It is non-stop, and we get 2 days off in a row a couple of times throughout the tour, but that's about it. We're working 5-6 days a week pretty much. Wow. And it's going to be a tough tour. Now Emo I don't know if he's planned out what he's doing for the next 133 dates, like Al has. But emo doesn't like to repeat too much of his material, and especially in the same market. So let's say if we're playing around LA, 2 or 3 or 4 times or something, he doesn't want to do the same routine. He works very hard to make sure he's got different material. And some things, resurface. I mean, there's the existential French seagull. Pourquoi?
Those are mainstays. We can't lose that one.
Yeah, you can't not do that. That's like Al can't not do Albuquerque, right? So he's going to have a lot. He's going to be very busy, and he would sit up on the bus every night. He's very much of a night person. And he would be up till 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, mostly writing. He would write material, and refine material. If he did something, he tried something on an audience that night, for the first time, and it didn't quite work out, he would refine it or can it. So he's expanding his pool of jokes and stories. Unlike us, where we just have a finite pool of stuff and we just mix it up. He is creating on a regular basis. So this 6 months and a week is going to be really the Fortunate Tour. Yes, it's going to be really that's going to be tough on him. He's going to have to be extra creative. But yes, he's in it for the long haul. If we don't kill him first, and I think he's excited to be coming out and doing this again. And he's a perfect match for Al's audience.
Oh, my God, totally.
I don't think anyone's ever said, what is that emo guy doing up there? Emo Phillips. Yeah, Phillips. That's probably not even his real name. Phillips. Stupid. Anyway,
I would just say at the very least, everyone in the audience knows him from his bit in UHF. But I would say there's a large portion of the audience who knows him for his comedy too. So it's really such a great pairing.
Yeah. No, it was smart to put him together with Al, and smart to bring him back. So in that respect, I understand why this appears to be a continuation, but it's just sort of picking up where we left off, with some interruptions in between.
Right.
And it'll be nice to do this again. It's actually nice to come out and just and stay out there on stage and not do the whole costume thing and not that we don't enjoy that, but it's nice to do something different. It's nice to just be a band and without the distractions of the video and the costumes and all the lighting, to just sit up there and play and have people sit and listen and watch us. It's a different experience for the audience, and, hopefully a good one, I think, well, based on 2018 tour and the fact that we're doing it again, I think it was. And it's also, a good experience for us. We enjoy that very much. I mean, yes, Al's a performer, but, he's also a musician. He's also a writer. So, it's good for us to do that in that context, and it's also fresh for us to come back another time and bring the costumes and the videos back. So
right.
We'll see when that can happen again.
Now, this tour is extremely extensive. You mentioned 27 weeks, 133 shows. And I think it's public knowledge, at least with listeners of our podcast, that this tour was meant to come back in 2021, and it was pushed by the pandemic. Was it initially going to be this extensive, or was this just a result of having an extra year off? You guys just wanted to get back out for even longer?
It's hard to say if it was going to be this extensive, but it was going to be a busy year.
Yeah.
In fact, it was postponed twice. We were initially heading out in January, and then that got sort of moved loosely to the fall, and which actually that's about the time that bands started going out, so it was not a bad decision. But William Morris, the booking agency, thought it would be wise, just all things considered, to take it a little bit slower and kind of wait and see and let everyone go out and spend their money on the other acts that they want to see, and and then by the time we come around, they're ready for us. They a year ago were talking about going in spring of 22, and hopefully that'll stick. I mean, it's announcing the dates is one thing, and having them go through is another. I mean, I hope everything goes well, and and things don't get locked down anymore, because I think that's going to affect what we do.
Oh, totally.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Well, it will affect. I don't think I know. I don't think I know, but no, I do.
All right, I have a couple more questions about potential songs that might show up on this tour. So on the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour back in 2018, all of the songs that were performed were on one of Al's 14 studio albums. And of course, there was a couple variations. There was the Unplugged Medley, and then there was a version of Dare to Be Stupid, which was not on the albums. But are there going to be any more, or are there going to be any non-album tracks that show up on this tour?
I don't think so. I would have to look at a song list, and you know what? I do have a song list. Hang on, let me see. Let me get to it.
You just send it to us, Bermuda, and we can look for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, can I come over there and live also?
Sure.
And you find me a job for next year while the other guys are on the road.
Okay.
That'd be nice.
We have an opening for an intern.
Yeah.
We'll happily replace our intern.
Oh. Let's see. Okay, sorry. All right. Let's see. Word. Turn on the computer. Oh, wait, it's already on. Let's see. Nope, not that one. Nope, no, not that one. No, not that one. I don't think... No, not that. Oh, no, not that. Yeah, I don't think... You know what? There might be one.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, no, you mean Al's songs?
Right.
No.
Okay.
Nah. Nope. Nope.
So
No, you know what? It's pretty much. I don't want to say it's the same old thing, but a lot of it are the familiar songs, let's call them, and and a lot of the covers are familiar covers, and the ones we're adding, hopefully will be familiar. I mean, that's the idea is that people know what these songs are, and that it's fun for them and fun for us. So there are some changes, and that's about the most I can tell you.
Are any of the cover songs going to be covers of other Weird Al songs that are maybe parodies?
Yeah. What?
I'm just asking. Are we going to sneak any parodies into this tour? Or is it all going to be originals?
Oh, I mean I don't know yet.
Okay,
we'll find out.
Okay, all right.
A follow-up to the question about all the songs showing up on Al's 14 studio albums, is there anything that may be on Medium Rarities or another compilation album?
I have to look at what's on Medium Rarities. Let's see. No, I don't. I barely know what's on the other 14 albums. I think Word Crimes was on one of them. Let's see. No. Depends. No. Lousy haircut? No. Homer and Marge? No. Yeah, I don't. Hey, we're the monks? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
While you have the list open, Bermuda, will you guys be covering Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast theme song at any of the shows?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, who would know that besides everyone that all the fans that listen to your show?
Well, Jim should know it.
And how much money do you have? Because we have a big tip jar, and that you write your request on the back of $100 bill. There's two of you, right? That would be $200, and
plus Frank.
That might sway our decision. No, I don't know. It's not in the set list, so
okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm
just checking.
And while you have the set list open, another question. This tour is being billed that almost entirely his original non-parody songs will be performed. Does non-parody songs include polkas? Is there a possibility of a polka showing up in this tour?
That's, well, now you put me in a, all right, I'll just tell you. We're just going to do all 9 polkas in a row. And
Wow.
The only song.
and we're basically doing one song, and it's going to be the ultimate, the fortunate polka medley. No, we're no.
Okay, all right.
No polkas as far as I can tell.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, on a personal note, what costume are you most excited about not wearing?
First off, the band, actually me most of all, doesn't have to wear all the costumes, and certainly not to the extent that Al does.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to say. I mean, in my situation, because I have to sit behind, because I have to climb over a stool and I have to cross my arms when I play, I have a little bit more leeway on costumes than the guys do. Mm-hmm. For example, for Yoda, or Saga and Yoda, I don't have to wear the long coat because it's just not possible to manage that behind the drums. So that was something, I guess we started that in 99 on that tour, the 2000 tour, and that was established early on that I wouldn't have to wear that. So, I have a little bit less of a costume load. I don't know. Anytime I have to put a wig on, which was for CNR and Smells Like Nirvana, for example, that was always a little tricky back in the day when I was wearing headphones. A little less tricky since I went in ear about 5 years ago. But that's always, not that I move my head around a lot, but there's always the concern that the wig will fly off and people will then know it's me. That it's not really Dave Grohl or Meg White, sneaking in to do a cameo. That's just Bermuda wearing a wig. Oh my God. We thought Dave Grohl was going to come in and play the Nirvana song. Yeah, like Dave wants to come in and play a Smells Like Nirvana song.
I bet he would. He seems to be.
He's too busy. He's too busy lecturing the American public on the history of rock and roll.
That's true.
Will there be any special guests besides Emo Phillips that show up on this tour?
Okay, I hope not. I don't see why or where that would happen. I mean, we're not doing anything that lends itself to a guest, and necessarily. I mean, well, hang on. Oh yeah, we are. But there's that song there where that person could come out and do something. No, I don't anticipate. It's always a little tricky trying to bring someone into the show. We had Ben Folds come up and play in Milwaukee, do Why Does This Always Happen to Me, which I recall we didn't even get a chance to rehearse. That was
oh wow.
And it was raining. That was a not a good thing, I don't think. And it's another thing to have Lin-Manuel run out at Radio City Music Hall and sing a line from Yoda and then run back. Again, we did not rehearse that. I swear to God that we did. Al knew, of course, but we didn't know that he was coming out. We saw that. We saw this guy, Al goes, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and this guy comes running out from the side. It's like, what the heck is going on here? And then this guy sings a few, and then runs back off stage, and it's like, what the heck was that? That's the guy. We're in New York City. Why isn't he over watching Hamilton instead? But, anyway, I guess he'd seen it. Probably, he probably knows it.
Right.
You're people coming up? No. Nobody's doing it. Not that I know of.
Nobody's scheduled. Can always change.
Right. I mean, we didn't do it last time. On this. Well, we rarely do it at all. Like I say, there's Ben Folds and Lin-Manuel are the only times that anybody's come up to that I can think of that has come up and been part of the show. For any extent. I mean,
I remember Tom Lennon doing it on Mandatory in Vegas. I feel like he did one last tour.
Really? Wow.
During Yoda.
Oh.
I was at the show in Las Vegas where Thomas Lennon came out and sang a line in Yoda. Yes. But yeah, I agree. It is pretty rare that something like that happens.
Yeah. I mean, usually at that point in the show, by Yoda, I've already stopped paying attention. It's just at Radio City, there's this guy like running out, and I catch him out of my right eye, on the right side, and it's like, someone's coming out to stab Al, or Jim or Steve or hopefully Ruben. Although if he was doing Ruben, he would have probably run behind me,
right, and
just come up behind him and But he went right out to the front and stood next to Al, and it's like, what the heck is going on? So I sort of woke up at that point in the show, and then he ran off. It's like, so thank God I can close my eyes again. But I wouldn't expect to see any surprise people up there.
All right. Well, speaking of Radio City Music Hall, there is another really big venue in New York City that you guys are hitting this tour, and that is Carnegie Hall. How exciting is that?
Oh, cool. Well, and of course, and that's a really, really cool way to end the tour. I mean, if God forbid this was the very last tour for some reason, if that's the last place we ever play as a band, that would be really, really cool. And of course, everyone knows how to get to Carnegie Hall. You take the subway to 57th Street and head west.
Right,
of course. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
And I assume that's the first time that you guys are playing Carnegie Hall. Is that correct?
It is the first time, although it was scheduled last year for this year. And in fact, we were going to play there on Al's birthday.
Wow.
Of 2021. So it was booked well in advance for October 23rd of 2021, and of course got canceled. And I think it was sort of semi-rescheduled and then was sort of put on hold again. So now it's of course, in writing, and barring any problems, we will go through, and that will be the last date of the tour, and that's going to be a very, very cool show. I assume that's going to sell out quickly. I assume the VIP program for the party for that show is probably going to sell very quickly. That's going to be a very special show. And then we're home the next day, after 6 months and a week, grueling tour. And but no matter how, when we get to the end of every tour, it's always everyone's a little bit tired and kind of ready to go home, and then you get home and then you immediately start missing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but regarding Carnegie Hall, that's not the first time that the subject of Carnegie Hall has come up. We were actually, and I've got it written down somewhere, but in the past, the promoter in New York City wanted us to play Carnegie Hall, and unfortunately, because of our show and the way it was, the union fees would have been very high to bring a show like ours in to Carnegie Hall, and we decided that it would be more merciful for everyone involved to just not, have that kind of money spent just so we could play Carnegie Hall. At least not on that tour, figuring we would get around to it eventually, and so we will, or that's the plan anyway. Yeah. But the Carnegie Hall possibility had come up once or twice before, and I've got it written down on which tour or tours it was. And I think for the same reason both times, just the union fees for our kind of show were just going to be prohibitive, and it was nixed by Al. Actually, he didn't want. He didn't want that kind of expense involved,
right,
in the show, and not that it would come out of his pocket. I think the promoter would have had to pay for it, and he just didn't want to do that to the promoter.
What a nice guy Al is.
Yeah, and we get to play there anyway. After all,
that's awesome.
And without all the accoutrements that would have made it so expensive before, it's now, I believe, just essentially a normal gig, logistically. And in terms of all the fees and stuff, yet it's a very, very cool place to play. Like Radio City was a very, very cool place to play.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. We're starting the tour in New York State. We start in Poughkeepsie. And is that how you pronounce it? Poughkeepsie.
Sure.
And ending in New York City. So we're flying to and I think we fly into New York City and then take an Uber to Poughkeepsie. But we start in New York and end in New York, and zig and zag mercilessly across the country. I mean, we're in we cross back and forth many, many, many times. It's just, it's literally what they call a dartboard tour. And where you just where Helen Keller is throwing the darts. So sometimes we end up going into Canada for a couple of days and then coming right back out. Because if the dart goes too high, sometimes it lands in the water, and they don't count those, I guess.
Okay.
But
thankfully,
if it lands in the water, we play the nearest venue on the beach. So that's how the Hampton Beach gig came up.
Well, so let's talk about some of these venues. So obviously, Carnegie Hall is an exciting one for you guys to be doing. It's kind of reminiscent of, like you said, Radio City, or maybe the same kind of prestige as the Grand Ole Opry or Red Rocks. What are some other venues that you're just really excited to hit up this tour?
Well, we're back at the Grand Ole Opry. Actually, the Grand Ole Opry now is a different theater, but we're back at the Ryman Auditorium, which was the home of the radio show, the Grand Ole Opry. So that's considered to be the Grand Ole Opry venue. We're back there, which is very cool. My brother and his family are out there, and I've got several friends out there that come and see us. What do you think is it? It's hard for me to judge because from where I sit, they all sort of look alike. There's more seats in the audience or there's not, but the experience for me is different. Obviously, at a show that and in a venue than the audience that walks through the front and sits in there and observes it from a different angle than I do. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think? What would you consider to be special venues? I mean, we are doing a lot of new venues on this tour, a lot of places we've not played before.
The special one for me is you guys are doing the Egg in Albany, which is one of my all-time favorite venues. And I would have never expected a Weird Al tour to go to such a relatively small venue compared to the performing arts centers and the festivals you guys have done in the past. So I love that this tour affords you to go to some new places like that. It's literally a giant cement egg that you guys are going to be playing in, and the acoustics are awesome. Wow. There's not a bad seat in the house, and that's literally the second date on the tour, and it's the 27th, and I don't have to get a hotel, so it's just everything about it is great.
Wow, yeah, that would be a new venue for us. The audience capacity on these venues on this tour are just all over the place. I mean, there's some places. I think we're playing a place in Napa, California, which is wine country also. I think it's maybe an 800 seat.
Wow.
Now that may be the smallest. Yeah, that's pretty small. That's really, that's not a lot of people to come in. It will sell it out. I have no question about that. But, that's not a lot of people when, maybe a night or two later we'll be playing, 16 or an 1800 seat place. There's right. Some venues that are 2,500 seaters and more. It's really all over the place. I think that place in Napa may be the smallest. There's something called the Caverns in Pelham, Tennessee, which is I think sort of near Chattanooga-ish sort of a thing. And that's like, I don't know what that is, but it's 1,000-seater, whatever it is. And which is why we're doing 2 nights there. And we're also playing Knoxville, and we're also playing Nashville. In fact, we're doing 2 Nashvilles on this tour. We're doing Nashville, Indiana, which I'd never even heard of before. And it's near Bloomington, Indiana.
Okay.
It's funny. We're actually on this tour. We're kind of missing some regular stops. We're not playing Cleveland now. We're playing Akron, which is not too far from Cleveland. But yep. I mean, I don't even know if you would consider it Cleveland Metro. But we're not playing in Cleveland, which is really different. We're not playing in Indianapolis, which is really, we almost always play Indy. So this is a different tour for a lot of reasons. A lot of new venues, yeah. a lot of some of the smaller venues we played in, the last 35 years. It's just, and it's the longest run we're doing without a break. This 6 months and 1 week is really, but it's the fortunate tour. We're all looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, I did want to talk about that Caverns date, but there also are a couple other dates I wanted to ask you about. But for that Caverns date, the research that I did, that looks like that is actually a concert hall that is underground in an actual cave system.
Wow.
So you will be playing underground, probably for the first time ever.
Well, we did play the basement at this place in Atlanta back in the 90s. But, you're right. I want to see him back the truck up to the stage. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, luckily there's no video screens.
I know nothing about that place, but when I saw it, and when I saw the capacity was small, and it's in the middle of nowhere. It's in Pelham, Tennessee. And I'd never even heard of it before. I should look it up and find out what I'm getting into. I mean, maybe that'd be a good couple of nights to get a sub and go hang with my family in Nashville instead. Just kind of relax. I think at that point in the tour, I might be ready for a little rest and relaxation. Actually, no, that's in May. That's
May.
early in the tour.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be tired yet. Yeah, what's ironically, by the time people see us at Carnegie Hall, we're going to be just beat. But we're going to be excited also.
Yeah.
So we'll perk up for that gig, and then we'll just sleep on the plane on the way home, I guess.
Yeah, well, you've played between two rocks when you played over at the Red Rocks Amphitheater in Morrison, Colorado. So you might as well play underneath some, right? Might as well.
Well, yeah. Yeah, no, that will be very interesting. I got to look that up. I got to find out what the deal is with that.
Yeah.
And hope that nobody's claustrophobic, I guess.
Oh, yeah. There's no earthquakes or anything.
Hopefully not. I mean, you can have earthquakes anywhere in this country, so I wouldn't put it past the geological system to have an earthquake when we're there. When we happen to be there. Just for us, just for the occasion. Got two nights to get that right.
There's more than just tour stops in Tennessee, but there's another one in Tennessee that actually stuck out to me. The Graceland soundstage. You're playing at Graceland. That is pretty cool as an Elvis fan.
I don't know if that's actually at Graceland or if that's just the name of the venue. Sort of like 1 hour cleaners is usually just the name of the place that does cleaning in a week. They just call it 1 hour. Doesn't mean you can come back in an hour. I haven't looked that up either.
Yeah, from what I could tell, it's either on the Graceland property or like right next to it. So you're pretty much going to be at Graceland.
That's cool.
That would be cool. You know what? We've not been to Graceland. We were there as a band with the band Berlin, I might add, Terry Nunn and Berlin, in 1985. We did some kind of a festival in Memphis and had a day off, I guess the day after. And we're still there, or maybe it was even that afternoon. And we went there with them, and that's the first time I'd ever been in Graceland. Then I went with my wife sometime later on. But that was pretty cool. So that'd be nice if we can get back there and not have to pay the admission fee. That'd be really. But if it's next to Graceland, we can just jump the fence, and it'll be the same thing.
Pop over.
Yeah. So there were some other dates. You mentioned the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville. You're going to be playing 3 nights in Las Vegas at the Venetian, and this is also a pretty cool venue to be playing at the Kennedy Center in Washington D.C. near the end of the tour as well.
Ooh, that's exciting. Now you know more about this tour than I do. I know we were playing Washington D.C. I hadn't really paid attention to where we're playing. That's wow. See, now that would be the place to do the Strings Attached tour, so the National Symphony could play with us there instead of Wolf Trap.
Yeah,
because that would be like wow. I wonder if that's where they do the Kennedy Center honors.
I wonder.
No, you know what? That's probably just the name of the ceremony.
Yeah, that's true.
They do it at some other theater. They do it at some club. The Kennedy Center hours at the 921 Club.
Well, this is the concert hall at the Kennedy Center. Yep.
That's very cool.
I noticed you guys are going to be in Greenville, South Carolina on a very special date, August 18th. What can you tell us about that show?
Oh, that's when we play Greenville.
Oh, okay.
I'm excited to be playing Greenville because you know why? because I get to see an old buddy of mine who just moved not far away, and hadn't seen him in a couple of years, and I get to see him and maybe stop by his new home. That's going to be very cool.
And also, I feel like August 18th rings a bell for some reason.
Well, it's the late Johnny Carson's birthday.
Oh, okay.
I miss him a lot. Yeah, I miss him a lot. And that's funny. That date, whenever we're on tour, which is usually over the summer, that date, the guys in the band always pull some shtick on me. And I don't know what the deal is. It's like they have some agreement to do something silly for me. They show up with a cake before the show and make me blow out candles, and it's very humiliating. And then Al usually says something to the audience that night too. And then the band launches into a little song, and it's just like, God, did you guys knock it off already? Every year, same thing.
Always
same
that
shtick,
date. Always
year.
that date.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Huh.
Right. Oh, it's my birthday.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you for remembering. Oh, that's very nice. I have a database, Microsoft Access, thank you, with every gig that I've done, local and with Al and whatever. I have one for my recording sessions. I have one for the videos we've shot, and in the one of my we used to call them snapshots. I forget, one of the filtered list things is of dates I've done on my birthday. What dates have 8/18 in them, and so I have a list of all the and I've done about 30 gigs on my birthday. A lot of them with Al.
Wow.
But a lot of local, some local gigs as well. But I have the same kind of a thing, New Year's Eve gigs, things like that. But it's just interesting to look at the database with the birthdays. If you're interested, I can call it up.
I'm curious. Yeah.
Of course you are. Birthday gigs. Oh, okay. Oh, there's 19 of them. Sorry, 19 including the upcoming Greenville gig. So
it's still really impressive.
17 of them actually were playing with Al. Wow. 84, 85, 87, 94, 96, 97, 99, and 2000, 2004, 2007, 2008, 2010, 12, 15, 16, 19. And somehow in 2018 we escaped it. Oh, that's right. We were on tour earlier that year. And then the upcoming gig in 2022. So it'll be a total of 17 gigs out of 19 that I've done with Al on my birthday. And 17 times they've humiliated me. Now, the tours very often have ended before Al's birthday, so we don't get too many chances to humiliate him. But there have been a few. And there will be, let's see, where will we be this October 23rd? We will be in Raleigh, North Carolina. So Al, if you're listening, and I know you are because he checks up on to see what I'm saying, don't worry, we won't do anything that night.
Wink,
not doing
wink.
Anything. Wink, wink. Good thing this is not on Zoom. Don't worry, it will be a normal show. Yeah. We'll start planning now.
Bermuda, I know you really haven't studied the list of cities and venues that you're going to, but are there any that, let's say if somebody were just going to pick one concert to travel to out of their normal, their local concert, is there any that you would recommend that they check out either because you really like that venue or you like that area of the country that you'll be visiting?
Well, I mean, Carnegie Hall is obviously a very special venue.
Right.
Not the kind of venue you would normally expect to see a rock band, much less, Al. But well, no, I mean, to come in and there was a time when we were considered a novelty band, and it's nice that we've risen up the ranks. In fact, that's. If you don't want to do that Carnegie Hall, I think there's another Carnegie Hall in Pittsburgh that we're playing just a few nights before. So you can see us at that's Carnegie Music Hall. I see. That's the joke. Yeah, I think Carnegie Hall in New York City would be the gig. I think if there's any gig that's going to sell out quickly,
Yeah.
and VIP that's going to sell out quickly. I think it's that one. That would be the cool show. But this Caverns thing sounds, if you're anywhere sort of in the Mid-South, that sounds like it could be kind of an interesting sort of a gig. I got to look that up. And the Graceland gig too that you mentioned, could be kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think the standout gig on this tour is going to be Carnegie Hall.
You're saving it for the last one.
Yep. And again, hopefully not. It's certainly not our plan, but if for some reason that should end up being the last gig we ever do, that's a heck of a way to go out.
Well, I hope that's not the case.
As opposed to the Caverns, down in some cave. Or in Napa. Weird Al's last show in front of 800 people in a small theater in the little sleepy town of Napa, California. This is how it ends. But Carnegie Hall, that's a different deal.
Yeah, that's...
So, anyway, we're really looking forward to this tour, and it's going to be a lot of fun for the fans. It's going to be a lot of fun for us. And we'll it's a lengthy tour. It's 6 months and a week. 27 weeks, did I say that? And we'll try to stay awake through the whole thing.
Good. I'm really curious. I mean, obviously Dave and I and other collectors listening are very excited with any tour to see what kind of merchandise is going to be making an appearance. Do you have any insight you can share with us on potential merchandise?
There'll be, I imagine, the usual T-shirts, maybe a bag, carry bag kind of a thing, a grocery bag type of a thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe there'll be some pins, maybe there'll be some decals. This would be, I think even in 2022, regardless how things go with COVID, if everything goes great, I think Weird Al masks would be, a hot seller.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't have any, hats, things like that. But I don't have any other lead on what's going on. That's actually, speaking of hats, that's actually our tour manager, Melissa King, is also the merchandise manager. In fact, she started out doing merch with us back in 2006 or 7, I guess. And so she wears a lot of hats on this tour. And I'm sure at this point, with the tour, literally about 4 months away, I'm sure she's well into discussions about, with Al and with Jay and the merchandising companies, with what we're going to get, because you got to get that stuff going. And have it delivered so we can start out with stuff on the road. But as far as what it's going to be, I'm sure some of the usual stuff. I imagine there'll be another T-shirt similar to the first one with the fortunate, ill-advised, whatever, with the current tour's title on it. I don't know. I don't. Honestly, I see that stuff at the first gig.
This is the first time that maybe a lot of people may be coming out to see a rock concert, to see any kind of group or any kind of show with a large audience. This may be the first time that some people are coming out, and I just want to know your thoughts on what kind of safety requirements are there. For you guys traveling as a band, how are you staying safe while you're out on the road for 6 months, for 27 weeks?
Well, I think, after show guests, for example, I think that's going to be limited if it happens at all. Honestly, I'm not sure how Al's going to pull off the VIP thing. I mean, he'll be putting himself in close proximity with, a lot of people 5 nights a week for 6 months and a week. So I don't know, masks, hazmat suits. I don't know. We're going to, obviously we need to be careful.
Yeah.
We're going to be, our crew, we interface with our crew. They interface with a local crew, different local crew, 5 days a week, 6 days a week sometimes, different crews. And it's, hopefully these venues and the local crews will be following protocols so that nobody catches anything. It's a tough time. Well, that's why everyone hasn't been touring for the last year and a half. But to go out and do it and manage that, I think it kind of remains to be seen. There are groups out doing it now, and the way they do it is, for the most part, they're in a bubble, and they do not see people from outside of that bubble.
Yep.
And I think to an extent, other than however the VIP thing is going to be pulled off, I think to an extent that's how we're going to operate. And people are already asking me, of course, for after show passes. Oh, we're going to buy tickets, but can we come see you after the show? I said, well, it's, but probably not. I certainly don't want to promise at this point. It's going to be limited if it happens at all. And, I might, if there's a way to say hi earlier, away from everyone else, I can do that. But, as far as bringing you back and saying hi and taking pictures and saying hi to Al and all that, I'm not quite sure. It's not going to be the same. I can tell you that. Yeah. It will be limited again, if it really happens at all. So we're going to be very careful. I mean, obviously, we each have to maintain our distance and take some precautions, when we're out. I mean, we can't completely isolate from everyone in the world for 6 months. That's just not possible. But, we're going to be more careful when we do. So masks and gloves and stuff like that. We may be taking regular tests. I don't know. It sort of remains to be seen. I know if we're doing the tests, I want to stick some swabs up Ruben's nose. So I will personally, that's going to be my mission, is to make sure Ruben is COVID free. Sometimes I understand several tests a day is a good idea.
Maybe part of the VIP experience could be shoving Q-tips up Ruben's nose. That would be kind of interesting. I'd pay more for that.
I was going to do that anyway. I mean, he doesn't even have to be there. Let's say, Ruben, the VIP is starting right now. Come here. Just like on the bus or something. Come here. I got your Q-tips. Got your the long ones. Not the regular, not the ones we use at home, but the ones on like the 8-inch stick. Oh yeah.
Just shove a drumstick up there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'd waste my sticks on Ruben, but. And then what am I supposed to do with the stick after that? Then it's useless. So
right.
You don't want that. And honestly, those swabs are less expensive. So
that's true.
I'll stick with the swabs, and who knows, we may even learn something. But more than that, I think that would be enjoyable for me to do that to him.
I think one question that has been sort of floating around between Dave and I and the other super collector fans is the VIP posters. Are we going to see a return of a different VIP poster per city, or are we going to go back to, one VIP poster for the whole tour?
Ooh, I don't know the answer to that, but that would be really cool. There were some really, really well done posters. I particularly like the poster from Little Rock, which has me and Al from the Tomorrow Show on it.
Yeah.
I was able to snag an extra one of those, and I framed that.
Oh, how cool.
Have that up on my wall. Nice. Much to my wife's chagrin, which was from ear to ear. But and yeah, I mean, there's more pictures. There's more stuff on our walls of like Al and music stuff than there is of us.
Right.
So. But I have more gold and platinum albums with Al than I do with my wife. So
that's true.
That's exactly it. If any of my other bands had a platinum album or a gold album or an album, I would certainly hang that on the wall as well.
Well, we need to stop right there, but don't worry, we'll be back next week with the exciting, riveting conclusion to our interview with the legendary John Bermuda Schwartz.
Oh, and next week promises to be a lot of fun. Bermuda reveals an exciting new Weird Al-related project that he's working on, and he also gives us a little behind-the-scenes look at a secret project that he worked on way back in the 1990s.
Oh, hey! That's the 347 Spatula Hotline! We must have a message! The 347 Spatula Hotline, the official hotline of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, is sponsored by Angel Valenzuela and David Cash, two amazing Weird Al fans and longtime podcast supporters.
All right, it's time for our intern Frank to play that message.
Hey guys, this is Dan Rossi. Just wanted to see if there's any way I could send you guys a picture of my Reuben tattoo on my... Thanks.
Wait, is that the real Dan Rossi?
Yeah.
Huh. So Dan Rossi really does exist.
Well, of course he does. Dave, I told you he did. He's a friend of mine from when I was in college.
Oh, I just figured you were covering for our no-good, rotten intern Frank from the interview with Ruben Valtieri we played last week. Well, Good luck with that Ruben tattoo, Dan.
Yeah, Dan, thanks for calling in.
Well, it's December now, and Ethan, you know what that means.
It means that Paul is dying?
Oh no, that's terrible.
Yes, you see, Paul got trapped beneath the ice on Christmas Eve.
Wait, it's only December 8th? Christmas Eve won't be for another few weeks yet.
Well, don't mind that. While trapped beneath the ice, Paul revisits the events of his past and the ghosts of those who haunt him.
Oh, I get it now. You're reading The Ruins of Our Past by Sebastian Shepard.
Of course! It's an annual holiday tradition. After watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman, I sit down with a nice warm cup of root beer and sit by the fireplace and read the holiday classic The Ruins of Our Past by Sebastian Shepard.
Wait, Ethan, you don't have a fireplace.
I never said it was my house.
Okay. I love this tradition. And of course, I love The Ruins of Our Past by Sebastian Shepard. Now, Ethan, I know that you and I have multiple copies of this book lying around the house already. But on the off chance that our great listeners don't have it yet, where can they pick it up?
I'm so glad you asked. They can pick it up at Amazon and by visiting wolfinwool.com. It makes a great Christmas gift.
So head right on over to wolfinwool.com and be sure to follow at SEB_SHEP on TikTok.
This week's episode is brought to you in part by Discover Darwin, promoting tourism in Darwin, Minnesota. Not only is historic Darwin, Minnesota beautiful, it's also fishy.
Darwin, Minnesota is home to Fuyu Outdoors.
Fuyu Outdoors designs and manufactures high-quality, well-engineered, and rugged UTV accessories.
Fuyu Outdoors carries UTV toppers, UTV topper accessories, and UTV fish houses.
Dave, I know it's been a couple of weeks, and I probably could have Googled it, but what's a UTV?
I'm glad that you asked. A UTV is a utility terrain vehicle.
Oh, so like an ATV.
Oh, no. ATVs and UTVs are different vehicles. They serve different purposes.
What? How so?
Well, an ATV, or an all-terrain vehicle, is also known as a quad or a four-wheeler, and is meant for single riders. A UTV, also known as a utility task vehicle, tends to be, dare I say, beefier, and allows for side-by-side riding.
But they'll both get you from point A to point B, right? I mean, they sound pretty similar, Dave.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But a UTV starts with the letter U, and an ATV starts with the letter A.
Oh, why didn't you just say so?
So visit Darwin, Minnesota on your next outdoor expedition. Discover Darwin, more than just the twine ball. And after you visit Darwin, Minnesota, be sure to visit discoverdarwin.biz.
Each week, we're able to bring you our podcast absolutely free. Thanks to our sponsors, Burrito, Discover Darwin, Jackson Scoggins, David Grant at wolfinwool.com, and Angel Valenzuela and David Cash.
And thanks to all of our amazing close personal friend Patreon supporters, UH Jeff, Zeb, Allison, Scott, Blair, Adriana, Frank from the Bank, Kenneth, Jared, Jake, and Javier, and thanks to Calvin and everyone else in our pretty stinking majestic Patreon family.
If you enjoy our family-friendly weekly Weird Al podcast, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/2000inch or by picking up some pretty stinking majestic official Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast merchandise. You gotta make sure you got your Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast gear for the brand new Weird Al tour in 2022. How else will people know that you're cool? You can go Christmas shopping and more by heading over to shop.2000inch.com.
And grab your copies of Black and White and Weird All Over and check out our special bonus episode book series where author John Bermuda Schwartz walks us through the book page by page and picture by picture. Our intern Frank tells us he's very busy working on the final 2 episodes. That's right, I said final 2 episodes, and we'll post them on Patreon as soon as possible. Remember, our Patreon family gets to hear all bonus episodes early, so that's a great reason to join if you have not already.
We love hearing from our listeners and other Weird Al fans, so join our Facebook community and post about Weird Al by visiting group.2000inch.com. And we also love it when we receive voicemail via our official 27-hour-a-day podcast hotline, 347 Spatula. You might even hear your message in a future episode.
For everything about our podcast, including incredible past episodes and guests, be sure to visit weirdalpodcast.com or 2000inch.com and keep up on new episodes, podcast news, and events by following at 2000inch on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thank you for subscribing and leaving reviews on your favorite podcast app. There are many great reasons to subscribe to the podcast. Not only does it help us, but you never know when we might drop some breaking headline news.
Thank you once again to our guest, John Bermuda Schwartz. Also, thank you to Mike Minnick and the real Dan Rossi. Thank you to the Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West for our incredible podcast theme song. And thank you to Weird Al Yankovic, as this podcast probably would not exist without him. And a big thanks to all of you, our listeners, subscribers, Patreon supporters, and sponsors, and everyone else who makes our podcast possible.
Thank you for choosing Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. And until next time, remember to gill and chill.
And remember to tune in next week for the exciting, riveting, bone-chilling conclusion to our interview with John Bermuda Schwartz, where we continue our talk about the brand new tour, and he shares some exciting news on an upcoming Weird Al-related project.
And to every one of our listeners out there who are planning to buy tickets to the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity tour this coming Friday, from all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, good luck. That was Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 136-inch.
The podcast with more journalistic integrity than Rolling Stone.
Ooh, 27. Dun, 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 dun.